Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sorry for being late, but welcome everybody once again to the Straub Sports Show. Obviously, big bro only right now. Little bro is having some technical difficulties, not only with his computer, but a technical glitch in life that has him caught up right now. So he will be in ASAP, but I'm here to hold it down. We already know how that goes. So thank you everybody for joining us here on the Straub Sports Show. If you are with us on Facebook on the 216 Sports Network, we appreciate you there. If you're on YouTube and you're one of our 5.2 thousand subscribers, we appreciate you there as well. What do you find on the 216 Sports Network? A whole lot of things that are fun to talk about today. First of all, 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth. You already know, Mama, your favorite guys. The guy for right now is here. And you already know, Craig. 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth. The Jay Rich Show. The Ruler's Minute with Rico McGee. Outside Interference, and the Straub Sports Show, of course. Where can you find the Straub Sports Show? Everywhere. On Twitter at Straub Sports, on TikTok at the SBSS, Instagram Straub Sports Show, and on Spotify Straub Sports Show. Spotify is completely updated, even as of last week. The Instagram page has everything that you absolutely could need. All of our Rapids interviews are there. All of my interviews are there. More on that coming up in the slide. A big shout out to my guy Austin at Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Make sure you're rocking with my guy on Instagram at Create Your Own Wave 2021. Make sure you're following him there. The stuff that he's putting out is fire. He put up a new hat. I shared it this week. Make sure you definitely go check that out. And as always, there's a little sample. If you need your gear, cyowapparel.myshopify.com. Boom. Don't forget, we are the official broadcast team of the Falls Rapids. If you check out the Instagram page, you will check out all of these interviews, minus 3 on the bottom row, actually 2 on the bottom row. Other than that, all of them are up. Make sure you're checking it out. Each one of these guys was great to talk to, first of all. Great answers. And you get a little bit of insight on who these players are. What their mindset is, and I end every interview with our fun rapid fire questions, so make sure you check those out. I just want to let everybody know my stalling worked. Andrew's in the building. He will be in here in a second to save me from doing this on my own. But that's not all we got going on with the Falls Rapids. Boom, we're doing something for the kids. A Santa toy drive, partnered with Keys to Serenity. New unwrapped toys can be donated at 2 locations: MK Hair, 2695 North Haven Boulevard, Suite 10 in Cuyahoga Falls, and the Moose Lodge, number 918 4444 State Road, Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. If you can help give back to the kids, we would really appreciate. If you can, I understand. Visit keystoserenity.org or info@keystoserenity.org if you have any questions. Daniel Demand is in the building. Owner of the Falls Rapids. I almost called him he's my stepbrother now. We're family now. So that's just what it is. I talk to you more than I talk to anyone in my life. So yeah. Big shout out to Daniel. He's always rocking with us on the program. And I'm not done. Boom. Our official schedule is on the board. You see the preseason schedule. We got 4 games there, including that Canton Classic with the Gladiators. And then a full regular season. You are going to be able to listen to me and Straub on the broadcast for not just the regular in-season games, but that preseason schedule as well. Absolutely fire. You already know, Daniel. And if you're not, here's how you do it. Facebook, the Cuyahoga Falls Rapids. Instagram, official Rapids. TikTok at cuyahoga.falls.ra. Follow the Rapids everywhere, just like you follow the Straub Bros Sports Show. And Straub, you ready to get in here for this? Get in here. Hey, what's up, big dog?
Oh, things were very frustrating for a little bit. Hopefully they're all good now, but we will wait and see.
I told the people you didn't just have technical difficulties, you had life difficulties that popped up as well. So welcome into the show, bro. I will introduce you fully here in a second, but I'm glad you're here because not only do we have our new friend of the show, Smoothie Sweets and Treats, not only Our orders over $20 getting a 10% discount code with cookies10 at checkout. That is a new menu there. I know it looks the same. Okay. I know it looks the same. And boom, Paula's checking in. She already spreading that wave. She's one of our top photographers. And what up, Coach? That is head coach Nate. What's going on, Coach? But not only is Paul one of our photographers, but this is Paul's bakery. Okay. And not only is that a new updated bakery menu that you can only get if you DM the Facebook page. Okay. Not only is there local delivery. Okay. Not only are there new cookies on the website, banana pudding and Snickers. I'm going to pull this down. Maybe I'm not. There we go. I've got cookies. Live and in person. Okay. I have to use the plate. This is the brownie. Okay. First of all, this is the brownie. This is amazing. Okay. Here's our cookie.
Ooh.
Amazing. And here, I'm going to do this live on the show. Okay. Because I warmed this up. Okay. Look at this. Look at this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm starving and you're making me more hungry and I don't appreciate it.
Listen, the diabetic over here who cannot eat all of these wants to eat all of these. Oh, but we're not done. You want to see some pumpkin bread?
No. My God.
Here's some pumpkin bread. Okay. Okay. We're not playing around. Okay. So make sure, and I'm going back here. Boom. Make sure you follow Schmoopy Sweets and Treats on Facebook and you go to the website and you get your stuff ordered. Okay. She delivered mine at work today. Okay. So first of all, Paula is amazing and you are the best for that. Secondly, please, you just saw the cookie. Okay. Do I need to do it again? Here, I'll do it again. I'll do it again. Bring this down. I'll do it again. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So make sure you get in there and get your orders in. Like I said, that holiday menu is available if you DM the Facebook page. That melty goodness, you are damn right. Paula, thank you so much. Boom. And that's our friends of the show. That'll do it. Way to come in on the end there, Straub. Welcome again to the Straub Bro Sports Show. Big Bro here, finally rocking with Little Bro. Little Bro, other than it being absolutely miserable and cold outside, what's rocking?
You know what? It was a really good week, and then today just took an absolute 180. But we're ending the day good. We're gonna be okay.
Absolutely, and we're back in here. We're gonna do what we do best. We're gonna rock this show. All right. So first things first. Let's rock with some news. I don't have a lot, but I do got some. The first thing, actually, I only have one thing. So if you got news, you're going to lead this segment. The first thing I want to do in the news side is give our best wishes to Coach Pop. The Spurs reported that his absence has been because Coach Greg Popovich had a mild stroke. Get well, Coach. You're the GOAT, or one of the two GOATs. I don't, whatever. But you're a GOAT in this game. You're a legend in this game. And we just want you to get better. I don't care if I don't see you on a sideline. I don't care if I don't see you on a baseline. I don't care if I don't see you coach ever again. I just want to see you get better and healthy. So our big shout outs to Coach Pop. But yeah, other than the debacles that have been my team, and we can laugh at them and talk about some of that stuff when we run through the NFL segment. Do you have any news?
I do not.
Okay. So let's give away some Bonehead Awards because it's going to roll in right to me, just rolling all over my teams. It's time for your John Fisher of the week. And because it's cold out, this is kind of funny. Mine is the sun, bro. My John Fisher of the week is the sun. Do you know why it's the sun? Because it apparently makes my Cowboys lose.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's stupid. Not only that, because there are only two stadiums in the entire NFL that go east and west and don't go north and south. Do you know what those two stadiums are? Those are Detroit and Dallas. Except Detroit built an entire effing dome, and Jerry Jones couldn't get over the fact that he has to have God watch over the team and decided to put a big open mirror or open window right where the sun sets. Now, the funny part is about me being able to bitch about this finally on the show is, as a Cowboys fan, us Cowboys fans have complained about this since he opened the stadium. Okay. Because we watched a couple of games and we're like, well, wait a minute. Why in the entire third quarter can my team not see? Like, what is going on? It's awful. But CD Lamb dropped a pass, and it was clear he couldn't see. Then he complained about it. Jerry was then like, what are we going to do? Tear down the whole stadium? I don't know, Jerry. Put curtains up like they did in the Super Bowl. Because they knew it was a problem and they weren't going to let it be a problem. So there's one, but I'm not done. Number 2, Micah Parsons. Shut the hell up. Seriously. Stop talking. He goes on after the game in which they sucked and they got blown out. We them boys and we suck. Paul, I didn't know you were a Cowboys fan. That just made your bakery taste 10 times better. Yeah, we are them boys and we absolutely suck. Micah Parsons goes into the locker room after the game and complains and makes the comment that people like Zach Martin have done because the coach could move on and coach somewhere else. He said that basically Mike McCarthy has put in work, but Zach Martin and other guys have put in more work than Mike McCarthy ever has. First of all, I get what you're saying on the field, but that's a guy who's won a Super Bowl, something that you haven't even come close to sniffing. Even with my big nose, you wouldn't be sniffing it. Number 1. Number 2, Rex Ryan then rips him, rightly so, for it, protecting a coach and because it was just stupid to say. Micah then goes on the podcast, his own podcast. Not going to criticize him too much for having a podcast as I'm talking on my podcast, but you're also in season. We could tone it down a little bit. Then goes on his podcast, doubles down, says, I never disrespected coach. Rex Ryan just wanted to coach the Cowboys, which is a lie. He wants to coach the Jets. He's openly talked about that. And just double down on stupidity. So yeah, stop talking, Micah Parsons. Oh, and I've got 3. I'm rooting the segment. I've got multiple of everything. My last John Fisher of the award is the Tua Tagovailoa, who threw an interception in a game and decided to make a head-first tackle on the defender to try to stop him. Tua, what in the absolute hell? Like, we've watched you seize up 3 times on the field. Please stop it. I'm not in a good mood today, as you see.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm in a bad mood, but Jesus. I did the Jerry Jones one and the 201. I definitely thought about putting on there, and thankfully I did because you had them. Because honestly, I just wanted to roll in Florida State's misery some more. I don't know why. I felt like it. So yeah, my John Fisher of the week is Florida State. Due to not just the 1-9 record they have, 1-9 record so far. Not just because this past week they fired both of their coordinators and their wide receiver coach, because four-star commit Trammell Jones has pulled his commitment, which makes the 9th commitment this season. And Trammell Jones was the longest tenured commit of the entire class. So
you finally broken the program.
Yeah, so Florida State is in a very bad way right now after honestly one of the best comebacks last season. It's very, very awful, and I just wanted to put that out there. But I will say Jerry and Tua were both on my list for those exact same reasons. So
Jerry, shut up. Micah, shut up. Everybody shut up.
Everybody just shut up.
Everybody just shut up. I'm just angry today. I have reasons, but all good. All right. Now, let's get happy, okay? Let's turn this around. It's time for your honorary Straub Bro of the Week, presented to you by Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Don't ride the wave, create your own, and become a Straub Bro of the Week. Turn us around.
All right. Now, mine is only one, but and it's the same one I do every week, but it's because there's a specialty to it.
You're welcome.
And oh no, I was going to say, Ken, I want you to say it.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
This week is obviously Ashton Jaunty.
Where did I send that?
You sent it on Snapchat. Or no, you sent it on Instagram.
Thank you.
They beat Nevada 28-21. He had 34 carries this week, the most of the season, 209 yards, which is, I think, fourth most in his season, 3 touchdowns. He did have a fumble loss, but we're not going to count that against him. But the biggest thing, and Ken, I want you to put this out there, is,
and we're going to bring it back around with Florida State. Florida State has scored 133 points this year. Ashton Genty has scored 144 points this year. He has outscored an entire FBS top five, or Power 5 conference team.
Which is, I think, why I also put Florida State in there. I wanted him because it meshes so well. The fact that one player on a group of 5 team is absolutely demolishing his league and showing how bad a team in the Power 5 is currently in their state right now.
That is just amazing. That was unrehearsed. That is just brotherly instinct. Well done there. That is a beautiful Paxton to Brendan Aronson combination there. Nobody knows what we're talking about, but
it's okay. Spoiler.
Yeah, that's coming up. Okay, my turn. Let's get excited here. First of all, keeping it with the footy real quick. Manchester United have officially appointed Ruben Amorim. I'm so excited. He's excited. Unfortunately, Ruud van Nistelrooy was let go. Thank you very much, Ruud. You were amazing. Most goals by three or more in a couple of years, more than Ten Hag. Most wins in I think it is a couple in a row or something like that. It's ridiculous. We thank you, Ruud. The new era is in, baby, and I am ready. My second one is Atlanta and not the Falcons. Shout out to Atlanta United for knocking off the Messi train, sending him, Luis Suarez's cheating ass, Jordi Alba's complaining ass all home. And lastly, I'm going to bring it home. Your player of the week, Notre Dame women's basketball guard, Olivia Miles. Yeah, get used to that. Get used to that one too. Her and Hannah Hidalgo are absolutely killing it. They're fun as hell to watch together. And they were destroying someone last night. I can't remember who it was. I just know it was on the iPad and I was watching my girls blow them out. Whew. All right. Whew. It's already up because this is fun. Let's do it. It is time to guard the land, and it is time to talk about our Cleveland Cavaliers. So here's this funny thing, bro. The last time we had a conversation, a whole week ago, the Cavs were undefeated.
Yes, they were.
And we were like, man, this is outstanding. They're playing great ball. Who knows how long this will last, but this is great either way. And here we are a week later, and they still haven't lost a game. They are still running. They are still balling. They are current. It's 13-0 now. Wow.
Yeah.
I know I'm supposed to have more to say, but wow.
No, you're good. I went out with a coworker on Friday to watch the game at a bar, and that was the Warriors game. And I was nervous, but I was like, we're good enough. We can do this. And then it was over at the end of the first quarter. And I went, oh,
a fun game.
I was like, sweet, I can drink and not worry, and we're good to go. And then Saturday hits, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to the game. I'm worried, but let's do it. And they looked okay, but they were down a bunch. And then the third quarter hit, and they weren't that good. And then the fourth quarter hit, and everything changed. We came back, and we won. It was fantastic. And then Wednesday's game hit, and the same thing. They go down. They kind of, in the second quarter, they kind of look rough going to the half. Third quarter hits. They step it up. They turn it back. My point is that not only are we finding different players every night to step up, we are doing it in different situations. It's not like we're waiting until the fourth quarter every time, or it's not like we're coming out strong and then trying to hold on. We are starting off strong. We're in the middle, kind of coming back. We're at the end. This team is finding different ways to win, not due to just the players, but scenarios every single night. And even if this doesn't last more than what it is now, let's say we lose tomorrow, the ability for this team to come and find different ways to win gives me so much confidence. It's not like these past couple years that we come out gangbusters and then that we have to hold on to that lead, or it's the fourth quarter and we have to give it to Donovan if we're down. There are so many different avenues we can go, and this is what makes me so much more excited about this team than in previous years.
Perfectly said. I have a question that I'm going to throw to you. I'm hoping Nick jumps in the chat before I ask it, but I'm going to point this out. Through this first 13 games, you've got Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and one game with a Dean Wade, in which these guys have led the team in scoring. So that shouts out to what you said. Whoever is the hot man that night is rolling. We're going to keep moving the ball, though. Something else I want to point out, because yes, there is a Washington in there. There is a Chicago in there, and there's a Brooklyn in there. But they've also beaten Detroit, who's up and coming. They've beaten Milwaukee twice, the Lakers, New York, Orlando, Golden State, and Philly. A wounded Philly, but that's all you're going to get out of Philly this year anyways. You're going to get, who knows, in terms of their big players. They're beating good teams in the NBA. They're spreading the ball around. But I saw a meme today, and it was funny, and it absolutely deserved to be brought up in a conversation. Basically, the meme was the 16 Atlanta Hawks, Jeff Teague, Kyle Korver, Al Horford. Who else am I missing? But yeah, you know what team I'm talking about.
Paul Millsap.
Yeah, Paul Millsap, first in the East.
What a team.
60 wins, whatever, blew everyone out, just to get thumped out by LeBron and the Cavaliers and not win anything for multiple years. That's what they compared this Cavaliers team to, because in a sense, they're saying they don't have the guy. They don't have a guy. My counter to that would be Donovan Mitchell is a guy who can win a playoff game. And if we continue to see this evolution and this step forward with Evan Mobley is a guy who can win a playoff game. And if those two guys are actually cooking, Darius Garland can be the guy who wins you a random game, like every good team gets to happen on those good playoff runs. But I wanted to throw that question to you.
No, I think I can, from a very much far away perspective and a very baseline, you could say that. But I think the difference in those team scenarios are, one, there's no LeBron James in the East right now. Like, obviously there's a Tatum, and honestly, there's not really that many superstars that are currently that high in the East right now, other than maybe Giannis. But Giannis doesn't even seem like the Giannis right now with how he's playing. So there's that. But also, when you look at that Hawks team, right? Paul Millsap was getting up there in age. Jeff Teague, he was a good facilitator, but he was a very good role player.
Great story.
Oh, absolutely. Love his story. Love listening. Kyle Korver was getting up there in age. So we were seeing the most best of this team can do with what they were. But then you had to face a Cavs team, a LeBron-led Cavs team that was absolutely ridiculous. When it comes to this scenario, you have a young and hungry Cavs team coming up versus an East that at best has a Boston or Milwaukee team that has very big holes and is very beatable. That Cavs team in the playoffs was not beatable because they were saving their energy. Boston looked shaky a couple times in that playoff run last season. So I can't compare these two too in depth because I think it's too different of a scenario.
I agree. Not many people were beating LeBron then. There is no LeBron in the Eastern Conference. Sorry, Jason Tatum. Sorry, Giannis Antetokounmpo. We clearly see we play well against the Bucks. We always have. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley bother Giannis. So just all of the above there. So no, but I agree with you. It was just a question that I want to throw out, and I got one more. Rico brought it up on the Rulers Minute. Is Dean Wade one of the most this was his point. Dean Wade is one of the most underrated role players in the NBA.
One of, yes. However, I think it is one of those moments where, was Delhi a very underrated role player? Absolutely. But
for a
is he gonna
series.
go to a team and contribute big minutes if it's in a different system? Maybe not. It's very similar where you have a guy who is very good in moments and very good in a system and very good in spurts. And in those times, he's great and we want him and it's great. But there are other times, especially with Dean Wade, where the guy can't hit a shot to save his life. And then he gets pulled and he's like 8th, 9th, 10th man on the roster.
Yeah.
In the rotation. That's what I was trying to get at.
Gotcha.
And so in those moments, yes, and that's why you keep him, because if he gets hot, he's not missing, and he could kind of lead that comeback or extend the lead, or however you have it. But he is definitely a go out there, see what you can do. If you're feeling it, we'll keep you out there. If you aren't, we'll pulling you back type of guy. He's not as consistent as other underrated role players or other just in general role players are. And so that's why I kind of equate him to Delhi in that sense, because Delhi could be hot. Delhi could hit a couple threes and play great defense. Those are times where Delhi couldn't hit a shot.
This team needs a couple more TNT games.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that.
And then Dean Wade, then he'll start to get maybe properly rated. But yeah, so Cavaliers not losing at all. I had the schedule. Friday night is the next game. Beautiful.
Yep.
So we will see how that goes
again.
Hey, I'm not going to start doing wins and losses. I actually would. Oh, I'm going to do this. I would like this team to lose soon.
Yeah.
Experience some losing. Taste some, just so you have
losing
to.
In the cup.
What? Yeah,
losing in the tournament. Do those.
I'm so not used to that. You threw me off completely. I'm like, losing the cup.
What I don't like it either.
Oh, yeah. It's just weird. It's just
the
weird.
Emirates NBA Cup.
And then you go Emirates, and I'm like, what? The Emirates FA Cup? What?
Yeah, I know. It's so bad.
That's the end of the show. But yeah. All right. So that'll do it for your Cavaliers. That'll do it for Guard the Land. Keep rolling, Cavaliers, and we will check in next week. Here, I'll put you on the spot. In a week, over under 2 losses for the Cavaliers.
Under. I think they'll lose 1, but I don't think they'll lose 2.
Ooh, I like it. All right. Let's talk some football. Ooh, like either of us really want.
I had a bye week. It's fine.
Yeah, talk about winning without playing, man. You absolutely racked that up. It is time for our NFL run through, our favorite time of the week where our scores don't match up. I finally figured out one of the reasons that happens is because I'm logged into my ESPN, so Notre Dame and Dallas pop to the top, but it still doesn't make sense for the rest of these because they're never in order. However, let's start with Thursday night with a great game.
Fantastic game.
Ravens over the Bengals, 35-34. Drew, I got a question for you. Should they have gone for 2?
So I am very critical of Bengals head coach. He makes dumb mistakes. He just doesn't get his players ready for the season. That's why they always start off so slow. But that Lamar Jackson is almost, especially in that game, almost unstoppable driving down that field.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate the call. I think we talked about this a week or two ago where it's one of those calls. He does it. He's a genius. It doesn't go right. He's an idiot. You can't blame the guy for wanting to just kind of go with the momentum. I understand it. So I won't give Zach Taylor that much of shtick, but that definitely does, in a sense, it does tell your defense, we don't believe you're going to stop Lamar Jackson, which isn't a bad thing because not many teams can, but that is the message you do send.
Daniel, save those comments for the next segment when we do this week's games. But I'm going to get this one out of the way now. It's not even on your screen. Doesn't matter. Don't flip. Eagles 34, Cowboys 6. As I predicted, we suck. Yeah, we are not dumb. Actually, this is perfect. We dumb boys, and we suck. Okay, and we suck.
You know what? You didn't start off horrible.
No.
You just couldn't continue, and that makes sense because you don't have a quarterback.
Hey, how about that? We saw a little bit of Trey Lance. There we go. I was having comment issues. We saw a little bit of Trey Lance. That wasn't any good. Cooper Rush wasn't any good. Tanking for Shador, baby. Let's do this. Bring it. I'm already in. Bring in Coach Prime. I'm done. I'm all aboard this train. Let's keep it rolling. To continue to show that we hate Europe, after our NFL England games, we sent the Patriots and the Bears to Munich. 19-3 Patriots over the Bears. That was just awful.
The most boring game I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, Bills over the Colts 30-20. Chiefs over the Broncos 16-14. My Broncos were hanging in there. A blocked field goal as time expired holds on for the Chiefs and keeps them undefeated.
They can't keep getting away with this.
Oh, but they're getting away with it, and there wasn't no refs this time. Saints over the Falcons 20-17. Rico, well in my misery. 49ers over the Buccaneers 23-20. Steelers over the Commanders 28-27. Jaden Daniels continues to impress. Rookie of the year is locked for him, number one. Number two, the other rookie on the defensive side for the Commanders who decided to jump off sides on a 4th and 1 where the Steelers had zero intentions of doing anything, running a play, calling a play, anything there. Blew that one. But the Steelers remain hot. Vikings over the Jaguars 12-7. Chargers over the Titans 27-17. Cardinals over the dismal Jets 31-6. If it wasn't for as bad of a season as the Cowboys were having, would we be talking about more about how awful this Jet season is?
I think honestly, the top 3 awful seasons right now are Cowboys, Browns, and Jets, and you can flip whatever way you want. But yeah, if you're a Jets fan, you believe that this is the worst because you went all out with these signings.
What's
and
left?
You still suck.
We got to run it back next year because we brought in too many new guys. Like, oh, okay. Have fun on your ayahuasca trip and hope Aaron Rodgers comes back. Lions over the Texans 26-23 in a Sunday night affair in which Jared Goff threw not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 interceptions, 5-time WCW champion. Shout out to Booker T. There you go. But still came back and won the game. And then in our Monday night game, Tua and those Dolphins over the Rams 23-15. Cooper Kupp picking up just enough points to beat me this week in fantasy.
Same. Holy wow.
Dude, awful. And then your teams on a bye this week, the Packers a needed rest, the Seahawks a needed reset, the Raiders, who cares, and the Browns with a win this week by being on a bye week. I do want to ask you a question. I do believe it was offensive lineman, Mr. Willis. Is that Jedrick,
Wills.
right? Did not play last week and the week before, not your bye week, obviously. And decided to let everyone know that the reason he didn't play was because he was, quote, making a business decision. Thoughts on that, Browns fan?
See, I saw it. And if we're being completely honest here, players do this all the time.
But only the dumb ones say it.
You're making my point for me. Everyone does it. It's a 4-week injury. You extend it to 5 because it's setback in rehab or whatever. They just needed an extra week because they didn't feel like they were ready enough to play, or the player they were going up against was going to maybe re-injure it. It happens. But you don't tell the media that so bluntly. I get it. You didn't want to play against I don't even know who we played against that we got blown out. The Chargers. You didn't want to play against both on the Chargers. I get it. You don't want to play against that defense, but my Lord, you don't say it. And shout out to Kevin Stefanski for trying to put water on the fire by being like, he didn't mean it like that. No, he did. He just shouldn't have said it like that.
Lies.
So listen, I am done with this Brown season already. This week was I lied. The Ravens win was the best week. Then it's this bye. Then it's the Jaguars win, and then it's the rest of the losses. this bye week was so nice to not have to be like, oh yeah, the Browns lost. Great. Don't care.
Listen, all I know is I
So
beat you and I beat the Steelers. That's all I got. Okay, and I'm hanging my head on that. I blew you out. But and I had one more for you because you brought up, or I brought up the bye week. We brought up the bye week. A side honorary Strawberry of the week goes to Dan Campbell of the Lions.
yes, that's true.
Who I can't, and that's my bad for not remembering the name, but the defensive lineman that you traded to Detroit,
Darius Smith.
There we go. Was scheduled obviously to have an off week this week. Coach Campbell gave him this week off to let him rest because obviously since he got traded and the Lions had already had their bye week, he would have been playing. He wanted to play. He gave the great interview. I believe he wanted to play. I know he absolutely enjoyed not being at practice and not having to do some of that stuff. But so shout out to that, taking care of the players. A coach that actually cares somewhat about player safety because he's a player. All right, let's roll into this week. We start Thursday night with another game that I'm going to say for the consecutive week should have been flexed out and not be a Thursday game and should be our Sunday night game. But we've got Washington at Philly. I don't even know the Sunday night game, so I'm talking without even seeing it. But Washington at Philly, that's going to be a good game. Then we kick off Sunday. We've got the Brownies back in action against the Saints. Then we've got the big one. And here we go. Where's our Steelers guy? Ravens on notice. Steelers are Lamar's kryptonite. We've got Ravens at Steelers. Lamar Jackson, he's not lying there. Daniel isn't. Has not routinely performed well against the Steelers. He's yawning over there. I get it.
I'm a hater because my team sucks. That's all it is.
But that's going to be a good one there. I will say this. I was on the record last year. I was on the record during the offseason. I was on the record at the beginning of the season saying Russell Wilson did not have a bad year in Denver last year. The offense wasn't his offense. He's not the kind of quarterback that Sean Payton wants at all.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to work. He is exactly the type of quarterback that Mike Tomlin likes and needs. Not necessarily likes, but in terms of personality and the way he takes care of the ball, absolutely loves. And he's the perfect quarterback for this Steelers team. And I said last year, if they got the 26 and 4 out of Russ that they got last year, I even said the Steelers would have won their first round playoff game. So as much as we want to throw water on the fire and throw all the shit talking away about the Steelers like that, this is what we said they could be, and they're being it. So we can't hate on them that much. However, they have the toughest schedule in the NFL from this point forward, and it starts with this big one with the Ravens. Go ahead.
Still gonna lose in the first round. What I was gonna say. What I was going to say was I definitely have a different view of like things. So I think that exactly, Mom. Maybe they'll end in a tie. That would be very, very nice because both teams could leave disappointed. No, but I believe that your Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night games should be your best games of the week because Thursday, it's your introduction to football. Sunday, it's an end cap of a great day. And then Monday is your kind of salute.
First of all, I want to apologize because I do this show and sometimes forget that today is actually Thursday and that game is tonight. My counter argument to that would have been these players are beat up and tired, so the game isn't always great. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think we have a notion that Thursday night games are going to be bad, and when it's a good one, it's like, well, why wasn't it Sunday or Monday or something like that? I think that Thursday night game should be the best.
I get you.
One of the best games to kind of kick it off, but that's just me. But yeah, no, I think these games will be really good. I like this Ravens-Steelers games. Yes, Bobby Joe Rhodes, I think they should tank the rest of the season. There is no reason to be playing anybody other than guys that you aren't sure that you want to keep next year.
I've already agreed. You can have one. You can have the number 1 pick if you give me 2. Because Shador's not coming to Cleveland, so you take who you want, and I'll take Shador in prime. We've already talked about this.
Yeah. But yeah, this game will be good. Looking kind of further down the line, there isn't a ton of great games.
I'll roll through. We've got Jacksonville at Detroit. We've got the Rams at the Patriots. Colts at the Jets as the Jets try to maybe salvage something. I don't know. Vikings at Titans. Raiders at Dolphins. And then we have got Sunday or more Sunday, obviously Green Bay at Chicago in a nice rivalry game there. We'll see if Caleb Williams can stop the ownership of Green Bay over
Are you doing what I'm saying?
Chicago. Yeah, I'm sorry. His comment threw me off there. We've got Atlanta at Denver, which should be a good game. I believe in Bo Nix. You can believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Bo Nix. Seahawks at 49ers. Chiefs at Bills in probably the biggest game of the week there. And then Bengals at Chargers. And then obviously there's an awful, horrific Monday night game as Houston comes to Dallas to not only take over our stadium, but take over our team, win the state. And they can just play in our stadium for the rest of the year. I don't even care.
I want to kind of talk about this. What? Sean, we don't have a quarterback unless you think you're going to be able to trade the number one pick for a quarterback, which isn't going to happen.
You can absolutely trade down in this draft for a good quarterback. We're in 2 minutes. We're about to cover the college football segment where you have got Diego Pavia, you have got Jalen Milroe, you have got the kid from Tennessee, you have got Shador, you have got Jackson Dart, Cam Ward, Quinn Ewers. You absolutely can get some top quarterbacks with a trade down off of the number one pick. So I know it off rip. You're like, what? That's crazy. It's not so crazy.
So it's not crazy, but I will also say that man has the worst sports takes I've ever seen in my life.
Don't do your boy like that on the podcast.
I'm just saying. So whenever he puts something out there that's a little crazy, I can never rock with him because it never turns out good. But anyways, we'll move on because I do like the back half of these games. Like I said, I don't know what the thing is with making weird Monday night and Thursday night and Sunday night games. Because I feel like it should be stuck to rivalries or top teams, but that's just me.
Chiefs and I should be
Chiefs and Bills should be Sunday night or Monday night.
Ending the Red Zone channel, which I call TV crack, football crack. I should be ending the Red Zone channel and I should be tuning in to Chiefs and Bills.
It should, yeah. I would keep the Thursday night game. Chiefs Bills should be Sunday night, and then Ravens Steelers Monday night, and that's a fantastic night schedule.
However, if I'm riding a parlay, give me Joe Burrow on a Sunday night rather than that Chiefs Bills game. So I can understand
that's
that.
True.
And then your teams on a bye this week: Arizona Cardinals, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Carolina Panthers, and the New York Jets. Will we see Daniel Jones play quarterback again for the New York Giants? I think I said Jets. I apologize. We don't know. I hope so because it makes me feel less miserable.
More wins.
More wins and less miserable about my own team. That'll do it for the NFL. Let's kick on over to the NCAA. Oh, bro. We had some games. And we had some movement and some upsets. Let's start at the top. And you feel free to stop me. There we go. You feel free to stop me whenever you would like. First things first. Number 1, Oregon took care of Maryland 39-18. Number 2, Ohio State took care of Purdue 45-0. And we're going to put a halt right on this conversation right here as number 3, Georgia fell to number 16, Ole Miss 28-10. Whoo, bro. I told you this is the Ole Miss offense was an offense that could do it. And if they got out early and put some points on the board and tripped Georgia up 1 or 2 times, they were going to take the game. And that is exactly what happened.
No, you're absolutely right. Because I talked about 2 things. Georgia's quarterback has been making so many mistakes this year. He has so many interceptions. Get to him. What they do, 186 yards and interception for Carson Beck. Check 1. 2, you have to have your offense play well against a good opponent. 28 points, 397 total yards, and only 1 turnover. Check. They checked both those boxes. They gave up the lead early, but they never looked back. It was a dominant performance by Ole Miss for the first time in God knows how long against a top 10 team. And Listen, I like Ole Miss. This SEC conference is now just all out of whack.
Wide open.
But they got a chance. I think there's some teams still better than them, but they got a chance.
I like this question.
Yeah. Well, let's see. You got Texas up there. You got Tennessee.
And I want to save some of this because I do have my updated college football playoff bracket. So we'll talk about more with that. But this SEC is wide open. Georgia has the toughest schedule in the entire country. It is murderer's row. No one else can compare. And the teams that are Missouri are losing. So it's murderer's row. I think Georgia's out now. I think this is going to be too hard of an obstacle to overcome because I think there might be another loss coming, and that's going to completely take them out. But Georgia's going to have a say in what happens in the rest of the SEC because they're not losing the rest of the way out, and there's more ranked teams to come.
Yeah. So just kind of briefly, when I briefly looked at the schedule, Texas has not an easy schedule, but can get out of it unscathed. Bama plays Mercer, Oklahoma, and Auburn the rest of the way, and so they can not lock it up, but if that's a much easier schedule than everyone else.
Mercer.
And Georgia plays Tennessee this week.
Yeah.
And so that is going to decide who your third team is, not even your second or first, who is on the cusp of being right there. And then obviously you have your Ole Miss. But that's kind of what we're looking at right now, where Georgia is very much at the maximum third in this conference right now. And so we'll see.
Yeah. And we're going to, like I said, we're going to bring this up more when we do our preview of this week. And then when we get to our college football playoff bracket, someone's going to sneak in who wasn't good enough because they're going to get hot and win the conference championship. So while I'm saying Georgia's out, who knows?
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a very, very fun rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
More fun than we've seen in a long time because we knew it was going to be Bama, Georgia, or if LSU had a run, it was going to be LSU. But now we got three different players now.
With more facts, I'm allowed to change my opinions. I was down on 12 teams. I'm in on 12 teams. Don't do any more, but I'm in on 12 teams.
And I know what it was. It was the last week, it was the bracket that sold you because it sold me too. Looking at those matchups, you're like, oh man, I want to see that now.
And if you give me Purdue in the first round, I'm happy. That changed this week. Spoiler alert. But our upsets continued at the top of the rankings as Miami went down to Georgia Tech 28-23. I'm going to eat some crow and be honest. Okay. Because I had the U is back in my college football prediction, I have been just kind of ignoring the fact that this loss has been coming for 4 weeks now. Probably longer. They barely escaped Virginia Tech. They have barely escaped a couple times because Cam Ward just puts this team on its back and just does crazy things on offense. This was coming. They're not out of it, as you will see.
Not by a long shot.
But this was coming.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. And I think the worst part is like you look at the stats, like the separation of stats, right? For Georgia Tech, 99 passing yards with two quarterbacks, 271 rushing yards, with their leading rusher being 93 yards. Right. And then their leading pass catcher had 4 receptions with 28 yards. Like, no passing whatsoever. And then you look at the Miami side with Cam Ward having 348 yards and 3 touchdowns. But then you go to their rushing attack and they had 88 yards rushing on 24 attempts.
Which is where they've been pretty good this year, which is why it finally tripped them up.
But when you play a Georgia Tech team that is punchy and that could score back and kind of wear you down on the defensive side, all they need is one stop. And you know what? They got that one stop because that's all they needed. And so, not going to say that they overlooked Georgia Tech, but I believe they absolutely did.
We have overlooked Georgia Tech because that win against Florida State that we all got so excited about and mixed in with some Georgia Tech losses has soured us on how good this Georgia Tech team was, if we can be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, as a team, you are coaching to not overlook teams because this is what kind of happens.
Right.
But I think less of that and more of this Georgia Tech team is 6-4, man. They're not a
Yeah.
bad team.
No,
They can hang with anybody, man. You know what I mean? So
not Notre Dame,
a
but
bad, not a good loss for Miami. I wouldn't say not a bad loss. They lost by 5 to a team that is playing pretty decent football.
it's not a loss to 5-4 Northern Illinois. Okay.
This is also very true.
I will eat my own crow. All right, let's keep it rolling. Number 5, Texas took care of Florida 49-17. Drew's Penn State Nittany Lions took care of Washington 35-6. Anything on that one? Yeah, the 2 thumbs up. I like it.
It's not Ohio State. It's not Oregon. Don't care.
There we go. Tennessee took care of Mississippi State 33-14. Indiana survived is what the word I'm going to use. A trip to the Big House 20-15 over Michigan. BYU, speaking of survived, 22-21 over Utah in the Holy War. Controversy absolutely all over this game. Utah was at the head coach came out after the game and absolutely shredded the referees, said they stole the game from them. They deserved more. Thoughts on the Holy War?
So 2 things. One, if I was a Utah fan, I may have agreed with him, but being an objective fan, one, it was pass interference. Sorry. It was. Not even going to lie. And 2, I get that and the thing, you only scored in the second quarter. You're going to complain about a fourth quarter call when you didn't score the entire half. I don't think you got the right to do that, if I'm being honest.
Nope, I agree. And here I will throw that out because, yeah, for the most part, we all agree around here. Doesn't matter. Michigan lost. Yeah, doesn't matter. Let's keep it rolling. Hey, number 10, Notre Dame took care of Florida State 52-3. I don't even remember the fourth quarter of that. It's not very often I downsize my own team to the iPad when I've got 8 boxes of big screen going. But yeah, we moved Notre Dame. I don't even remember that fourth quarter.
You scored 21 points in the fourth quarter, man. Jesus.
I remember some of them. And then in our other big game, Alabama beat down Brian Kelly and LSU 42-13. I know I like to pile on Brian Kelly and LSU and laugh. So you take care of the objective review first.
Oh my! Well, I don't know if I can. One, I also hate Brian Kelly, but 2, it's not going to sound good even from an objective review because they got boat raced by Bama. Like, what did we say when we were talking about this game last week? You make LSU pass the ball a crap ton and you put them under pressure. Nussmeier threw the ball 42 times and threw 2 interceptions. This is what we were talking about, and he lost a fumble. So when you have a game plan, and if you are Brian Kelly and you just ignore the other team's game plan, this is what happens. You can't just go in and be like, yeah, I'm going to let my quarterback, who under pressure can't throw the football, throw it 42 times against an Alabama defense. That's just not good strategy. And listen, I get it. They may not have the best running backs in the league right now, but man, you got to try something else.
Yeah. So we got some vintage Jalen Monroe, first of all.
Yeah, that's true.
And when that happens, Alabama's going to be tough to beat no matter what. Number 2, the defense played well. You put those 2 things together, and that team is almost impossible to beat.
Yeah.
Third, you're going up, if you're Alabama, against a coach who routinely chokes in big games. And the funniest part for me is Brian Kelly, when he was at Notre Dame, that was the knock. Can't win the big one, can't win the big one. But the thing about the way the college football playoff is set up now and the way Notre Dame has always been set up, you really only had to win one of the big ones. You could lose the other big one or lose the only big one of the year and still have your foot in the playoff potentially, especially when it was 4. And now with 12, you're absolutely in the running.
Yeah.
So instead, Brian Kelly goes to the SEC where he has to play 9 big games a year. Yeah. And I'm sorry, he ain't just like Lane Kiffin. isn't going to win all of them. So this is what you get, LSU. I hope you're happy because I am. And I'm glad in Marcus Freeman we trust.
Absolutely. Shout out to him, man.
All right, let's keep it rolling. Your Boise State survived a scary one. You keep giving Ashton Genty stats every week, but you kind of ignore Boise State as they beat Nevada 28-21.
To be honest, he is the team. So, I mean, I get it. Like they did, they do have a pretty decent not passing attack. Yeah, they have an okay passing attack. He went for 119 for a thrower. So, like, I get it.
Yeah,
I get that. I don't talk to Boise State, but like when you have a guy that insane on a run with this team that without him probably would be a 500 team, it's something you talk about him more often than not.
We're gonna pause the breaks for a second because my guy's back and he asked a question because he did miss the Cavaliers. Is Will Howard an NFL quarterback? No. Does that mean he can't ever be? No. He is not going to get drafted in the first, or I don't think 2 rounds. I don't think he starts out of camp. I think he's a guy who potentially like finds himself as a guy who steps in as a backup somewhere if he's in a good spot. Like if he went to somewhere like Denver, like I'll give you that. Bo Nix light. If he went to a place like Denver, Bo Nix gets hurt. He gets to come in, run a quick offense, quick reads, use his feet when he can. He could be a serviceable third string, second stringer. But no, not.
I will give you a perfect comparison. Trace McSorley.
There, yeah, a better version of Trace McSorley, I think. But
put it on a dime, like I ain't even trying. Trace McSorley played some snaps for the Baltimore Ravens. Trace McSorley, I don't want to hear any slander.
Okay. I wish we were still talking Cavaliers because I wanted to ask those questions to Nick. But maybe we'll circle back. Let's keep it rolling. Another upset. The always dangerous Kansas Jayhawks take down Iowa State, number 17 Iowa State, 45-36. Another team that this was coming. Iowa State's been shaky. They've been letting teams in games who weren't supposed to be there. And it's Iowa State. They always lose a game in the Big 12 that blows their season apart.
Yeah, I wish Cincinnati was like they're okay. I wish they were good this year because the Big 12 is just so wide open right now. And you could just, if you were halfway decent, you're in the race. And I don't want to talk about it.
No,
good for Kansas though. 2-6 before that, great win.
I got you. The only thing falling faster than Iowa State was and is the number 18 Pittsburgh Panthers. Where are you, Daniel? As they lost again to Virginia 24-19. Pitt had just a couple weeks ago the line to the ACC championship game, and in 2 weeks they are watching it completely slip away. The next team up, Colorado 41-27 over Texas Tech. No glasses this week, just real insight. Colorado's for real. Coach Prime is real. Shador is real. Travis Hunter is real. I don't need to repeat all those things. Drew, is it time for you and the national media to apologize to me in Colorado?
No. And you asked me this question, or not this question, but you basically were saying, why are you hating? Or you're hating on Colorado? I'm not hating on Colorado. We knew they were going to be a halfway decent team. I never said that they were going to be bad. But you know what? A 6-2 Colorado team doesn't impress me more than half of the teams on this list. Like,
I got that from where that program was.
Yes, he has done a great job, and I will never say otherwise. But to act like he is this messiah of college football, I think is a little overblown. I don't believe that Colorado, in my opinion, is going to get much better than what they are doing currently.
I wish I came back from the mute with the glasses on, but I wasn't going to wear them today. I don't know. I disagree. I think this is a major turnaround. I think this is a historic turnaround compared to where this program was multiple years ago. And I stand by this. Even if I get my wish and I get Shador and Coach Prime in the Cowboys next year, Colorado is 100 times better off than when he left it, and
You're
can
not
sustain
wrong.
it and can sustain it, unlike Jacksonville State, for reasons not all of Jacksonville State's fault. But Colorado will be able to get a young coach in there. They could have the guy from Florida State, Mike Norvell. They can get a young coach in there that will be able to build off of what Coach Prime had.
I completely understand. I think my opinion though is with what he has, you may be able to get a little better if some recruits go your way. But I think this is now going to be what you're getting from Coach Prime. A 2 to 3 loss season, kind of every year, kind of maybe they can sneak into the college football playoff, maybe not, but I don't think they'll be much more than a first round exit kind of team, which obviously, like we said, is better than they could have imagined 2, 3, 4 years ago.
From a 1-win team to the college football playoff is one of the most historic turnarounds in college football history.
It's not a 1-win season. They've had 2 years to rebuild.
I'm just from in a 3-year run like that. That's
listen, I get it. Listen, turnaround. Cincinnati had a 3-win team before Fickle came in, and in 3 years making it to the playoffs as the only group of 5. I get how important this is, but it also there is a cap on this, and I think they're about to hit it, or if they've not hit it already.
And I would say a first round exit is a great ceiling to have hit with this Colorado program.
But I feel like the hype that he is getting is a little higher than what the results he's giving. But I get your points on it.
I got you. Let's roll through this. Washington State over Utah State, 49-28. Clemson survived Virginia Tech, 24-14. Missouri beat Oklahoma. Everybody beats Oklahoma, 30-23. Drew, I know you had something on this.
This was, and I'm not lying to you, one of the most crazy endings to a game that I have ever seen in my entire life. So let me walk you through this, guys. It is 16-16 with, I want to say, probably 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Missouri gets the ball, proceeds to fumble it, and give up a touchdown to Oklahoma, a fumble 6. Missouri then, with 2 minutes to go, drives down in a minute and ties it. Oklahoma then has the ball and does the exact same thing. Fumbles the ball. Missouri picks it up, runs it back, and scores. Oklahoma does not have enough time left. Can't get out of bounds. Clock runs out. Missouri wins. This game was nuts.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is this year's Oklahoma football. Just take that last 2 minutes.
In a nutshell. Absolutely.
Put it in there. Seal it up. That's how you go. And finally, to wrap up our top 25, Army took care of North Texas 14-3, but did not cover. Army. But that will do it for last week's scores. Let's get to this week's rankings. And I only have one stolen graphic this week. It's a pretty good one. Shout out to wherever I stole this from. But
college football, it has the ad on the screen.
Yeah, sure. But
can't even block out. I mean, you're giving them credit, so fair enough.
No need to block. It's yours. I stole it. We've got number 1 Oregon, number 2 Texas, number 3 BYU, and number 4 Miami as your top ranked seeds. Obviously, not your top teams in the country. They are ranked that way because they are your current conference leaders and would get the first round bye. To fill out the rest of that, you would have Ohio State versus Drew's Boise State Broncos, Penn State versus Ole Miss in a game that Penn State does not want.
No.
In the 8-9 matchup, you have Tennessee and Notre Dame, which is a scary matchup, but I actually really want it because that would be fun as hell. And then over there on the other side, you have Alabama against undefeated Indiana. Now, before we get too much in this, because there's a bunch of questions, but I like this question first. Does Indiana drop out with a lost Ohio State, seeing how Penn State has stayed in after the Ohio State loss? Here is the problem with that. The committee does not, well, they didn't after the first week. They gave them a little bit more respect. The committee clearly does not respect Indiana's schedule.
Yeah,
they are there because they are there for one reason and one reason only, because there is something that the committee, a bunch of lifelong college football fans, the same way that I am, there is something that every one of them believes in, that I believe in. I believed in it with Michigan. It was why I had them number one in one of those rankings last year. And that is, if you play in a Power 5 conference and you go undefeated, you get a baseline of respect that will automatically have you higher in the rankings. And now, because we have 12 teams, it will have you in the college football playoff.
I do agree with you. And unfortunately, it's very
but I
similar
also didn't
to...
answer the question. Sorry.
I mean, yes, I'm assuming is your answer. But the issue is, it's a Wisconsin of a couple years ago where they went undefeated. They looked they looked good against bad teams. They played Ohio State. They got whopped. They kept it kind of close, but they got whopped, and then they dropped like 8-10 spots because, I mean, he said, okay, you lost. Now we look at your schedule. Now it's the same thing with Indiana. The only time I could see them with a loss staying in is if this is a massively close game and they lose by like a heartbreaker, like a field goal, or they miss one, something like that.
If they lose a 35-36 game, because Ohio State drives down and kicks a field goal, they got a chance. If they get blown out, no, I think they're gonna tumble because of that. Their strength of schedule is awful. I think it's 200. Okay, it is awful. They have not beaten anyone good yet. And no offense, the first time they really came up against some top tier Power 5 talent, they struggled with Michigan. They struggled in that Michigan game. So no, I think if Ohio State plays the way that I think Ohio State can play at its best, I think they can do it. However, that Indiana team is equipped to beat Ohio State if they can play at their top level. You obviously don't see Georgia here. I think they're in real trouble there. My Irish have no room for error. Neither does Tennessee. Neither does Ole Miss at this point.
Neither does Boise State.
No, neither does Boise State. BYU would have a chance because the Big 12 is kind of wide open. We also keep talking about teams that haven't really beaten anyone. Texas doesn't have any great wins either.
They have their first win, but that's really honestly about it.
Against Bama, and that was it. They lost to Georgia, so we'll see. But Texas does not have nobody really has a lot of room for error, to be honest. You know what I mean? Or except for Oregon. I think Oregon is the only team up there that I can 100% guarantee you that if they lose going into next week, I will say, no, I'll bet the house that they will be in this rankings again. Other than that, it's open season for everybody. Now, when I say everybody, there are other teams. It's not just those 12. Let me find what I'm looking for here. There we go. Sorry about that. Here is this week's, and we've got some movement. We will start at the top. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. Let's do our game of the week. We did have games, and then the poor Pitt Panthers were dropped out of the top 25. So Pitt and Clemson is no longer in our review, but we will mention it. I will say this. Neither of these teams can lose. Clemson, if they still have any hope of trying to make it to the ACC championship game, cannot lose this game. Now, they all got some help with Miami, but I think this is clear and above a Clemson win for me. More on that touching in on a second. But let's get to your big one. Number 7, Tennessee at number 12. Sorry. I had last week's rankings up on when I did it. Number 7, Tennessee at number 12, Georgia. The SEC double knockout tournament continues. Last dance, I kind of said for both of these teams. Another loss is going to be almost impossible to overcome for Georgia. Tennessee would pretty much be on the absolute fringe. Georgia is reeling. The blueprint is there. Ole Miss gave it to you. This Tennessee offense is kind of Ole Miss light. Can they put it together?
This is going to end one of two ways.
Okay.
This is going to end either with a complete Georgia blowout, like Georgia's going to wipe the floor with them, like we've seen Georgia teams do. Or this is going to be the most boring game of football until the fourth quarter, and one of these teams is going to pull it out. Because we have seen Tennessee for multiple games either not score in the first half, score maybe a touchdown, but also not give up anything in the first half either, against Bama, against Florida, against Arkansas, these kind of games. So if they can do that against Georgia, they got a chance. I think Tennessee is going to start slow regardless. But if they can slow down Georgia, kind of like Ole Miss did, they have a chance. But if Georgia gets rolling, I don't think Tennessee has any room to come back on this one. So it's going to be, honestly, we are so enamored by their offense at times. It is up to their defense to prove that they can hang with that caliber of defense on the other side.
I agree with that completely. I will say this, because I compared it to Ole Miss because it's a good comparison. Ole Miss offense, high octane up here. Tennessee's is like right here. Ole Miss can get rolling in the first quarter and roll through games. Tennessee never really gets rolling in the first quarter. They have to beat Georgia because one of the scariest thing you can do is back a dog into a corner. And these Bulldogs are backed into a corner now, knowing that they pretty much have to win out to have any chance of even sniffing the top 12. And that's a scary team now. That's a dangerous team now with nothing to play, nothing to lose. They got nothing to lose, guys. And that's scary. So we'll see. If this was Tennessee at home, I would feel a little bit better about it, but they're also on the road in Athens. That's gonna be a scary place to play. All right, so let's roll through the rest of your top 25, starting at the top. Oregon does not take on. Oh, wait a minute. So I got a big ups. So I'm gonna have to pull this up real quick. I didn't update the graphic.
I can roll if you want. I got it right now.
Oh, you got it up? All right, roll for me, baby. Because when I pull it up, I'll take over.
Yep. Oregon travels to 5-4 Wisconsin. Ohio State travels to Northwestern. Texas travels to a very gritty Arkansas team.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State travels to a very lifeless Purdue team. That one's probably not going to be too great, but I still will not give Penn State any credit. I do believe that Indiana is on a bye this week. And then BYU hosts Kansas after Kansas had a big upset. So we'll see there after a couple close calls for BYU. Got you all day.
We don't have as many rain games as you were saying. We have SMU with Boston College at SMU. Always a dangerous game there. Mercer and Alabama. Nothing to see there. Let's keep it moving. Utah at Colorado. That is a sneaky good game. Utah's going to be very pissed off, but I absolutely think that Colorado takes care of there. Yeah, these are absolutely out of order. Notre Dame and Virginia. We've got Louisville at Stanford. LSU and Florida, a rivalry game there. Not a big one, but still. And then one that we did miss, we do need to talk about it because it is a ranked game. We've got Missouri and South Carolina. My Gamecocks finally ranked, as you see there, at number 21. Finally getting the respect they deserve. I don't think this is going to be a close game. I think South Carolina is going to take care of that. Yeah, you heard me. More coming up on Big Bros, Big Bets there. Kansas State at Arizona State. Washington State at New Mexico. And giving some love down there. Tulane, one of your other new members of the top 25. They take on Navy. Oh, bold prediction there from the Florida homer. He says Florida takes LSU if Lagway plays. You've been saying that for 3 years now. Or not 3. Well, you know what I mean. But yes, a completely out of order top 25. I 100% apologize for that. That is a complete L over on my part. But that's all right. Let's get to what you wanted to see anyways. It's time for Big Bros, Big Bets. And bro, we continue to be on fire.
We are
Okay.
big.
11-3, 5 upsets this past week. Let's start with your spread party. Thank you, Texas, Clemson, Army, South Carolina, you know it, Penn State, Navy. Man, obviously Miami, they lost. But Oregon, almost, baby, but not close enough. On our NFL run, yeah, baby, Bills, Vikings, Chiefs, Chargers, Eagles, thank you. Falcons, come on, man. Had that game against the Saints. And then in upset central, baby, we had West Virginia over your Cincinnati Bearcats. I'm sorry, bro. We had that Georgia Tech upset over Miami. We had Ole Miss over Georgia. San Jose State pulled one out for me, and so did Duke. Let's make some money this week. If you want to know, yes, I put a couple dollars on my own parlays this week, so you know they're getting torched up to hell. Give me, and I'm going to take bro's advice and not read these all out completely, but give me Texas minus 13.5. Give me Clemson minus 10.5. I like Colorado minus 11.5. Welcome back, Rainbow Warriors. Give me Hawaii minus 2.5. Oregon State to bounce back minus 3.5. That's who San Jose State beat last week. Give me LSU minus 4.5. I believe in the Tigers on a bounce back. Yes, I like this. Give me BC to cover the 18.5 over SMU. I like Oregon minus 14.5. And yes, I know minus there, but you see it. I like my South Carolina Gamecocks minus 12.5 over Missouri. Upset Central, some stuff to watch for. Pitt plus 300. That's that Clemson game. Utah plus 330. That's that Colorado game. Navy plus 220. Give them some love over Tulane if you like. Staying with our academies, Air Force plus 130. Boston College plus 740. If you like either one of my touches on Boston College, no diddy. Tennessee plus 330. Missouri plus 390. If you think all this stuff I talk about the Gamecocks is hot air. San Jose State, welcome back. You're back in. Let's stay hot. Plus 360 this week. Drew, your Bearcats plus 255. You want to chime in?
So we need one win to be bowl eligible. We've needed it for 3 weeks now. And this Iowa State team is struggling, as they typically do. But we're on the road, and this team just looks like we are finding ways to lose. If I'm being like, they're not bad losses. Like the Colorado game.
Don't get too depressing on me.
No, the Colorado game, we just got beat defensively. It happens. We lost last week's game because our quarterback threw a falling toss out of bounds pick six, and then another pick six near the end of the game. So not awful, but I don't think this team has enough firepower to beat Iowa State. I hope so. I will be watching. I will be disappointed. It's a late game. It's 8 o'clock on Fox. I wish we could ever have a nip at night again because we've yet to have a night game this season at home, but it's fine. I'm not bitter or anything. But yeah, I don't know if I have much faith here.
All right. And staying on there because they were hot last week, Kansas plus 126 as well. And then your NFL run-in.
You're right. Ride the wave. You're right.
Hell yeah, ride the wave. And also your NFL run-in, give me the Lions, the Packers, the Vikings, the Dolphins, the 49ers, the Bengals. And yes, once again, for the second week in a row, I am picking against my Cowboys. Sprinkle the Texans in on all of your parlays this week.
So what did you say at the beginning of this segment?
That we were hot this week?
That you weren't going to run through every single team and then
No.
run through
I meant who they were playing. No. You're getting.
I was like, he is naming every single. I don't know what he was trying to get at here.
I wasn't reading who everybody was playing. That's what I meant this week. Shut up.
I got you.
Remember, in terms of me keeping track of my own little records here, I keep track of spread party and NFL run-in. Upset Central is stuff that I think is interesting if you want to touch on stuff. I do want to mention because, hey, it's worth giving myself a shout out. We're at our third we were at 3 weeks consecutive of double-digit predictions correct, and at 4 weeks in a row of at least 9 and above. So I'm hot. Find it in here. Make yourself some money. Boom. That'll do it for Big Bro's Big Bets. That'll do it for the football. It's time to talk some footy. I've been waiting for this. This is going to be fun. Let's start with the Premier League. You throw up the graphic. I will read through the big topics of the week, and we will run through them. First things first, Liverpool thump Aston Villa to remain top of the league. Manchester United thump Leicester City to just not be bad. Chelsea, Chelsea draw with Arsenal in the big matchup. This one of the big matchups this week, but upsets must end the big topics as Ipswich Town shocked Tottenham 2-1, and Brighton Hove Albion clip Manchester City 2-1. We will finish with the upsets. Or do you want to now? Let's start. They're the ones to talk about. First things first, we'll start towards the bottom. Ipswich Town beats Tottenham, beats Spurs, knocks them out of the top 6. Hilarious. However, is it crisis time for Spurs? And is this the momentum Ipswich Town might need to actually get themselves out of the relegation zone? And then we're going to pounce on Sean.
First, that is such a Tottenham loss.
Oh
it
my
is.
Oh my
to
God.
lose that badly, because they were down 2-0, and then they brought one back, but they just couldn't finish it. To lose that badly to a team that just can't get anything going is such a Tottenham way to lose. But after, anyways, yeah, this is a team that I feel like is finally running out of the Postecoglou gas. Postecoglou definitely came in as to kind of connect it to kind of football fans. Is definitely a Dan Campbell-esque type of coach. He is very much a player's coach that gets these guys motivated and come into a team that is known losers, kind of like Detroit, and now kind of Tottenham is very much like that. And it came up. They swelled. They looked great. They were playing with passion. They were playing well. But now the times are getting tough, and the messages aren't sticking like they used to. Maybe because he's repeating the same things, or maybe because just players aren't buying in as much. But this Tottenham team just feels like now old Tottenham teams. This is what I'm saying. And I think, though, this is also not sort of Postecoglou's fault. This is also very much similar to, while Dan Campbell is getting the players that he needs to succeed and getting them to buy in, Tottenham is known for being very cheap and will not buy players. And I feel like this is also Postecoglou's issue is he's not playing. They're not playing terrible with the players that they got, but the players they got aren't that good. And so I think this is where they run into a wall here. And I think this is also where potentially Postecoglou, if he does not get what he needs, might look elsewhere and go elsewhere for greener pastures that will actually give him the resources he needs.
I mean, with you going with the football analogy as well, like I don't think there's anything left for me to say on that one. Let's move on to the other upset of the week.
You can take that because I don't have any answers for that one.
As Brighton beats Manchester City 2-1. I would like to throw a question out, not just to you, but to our residential Manchester City fan, who I know is watching very nervously behind the scenes there. I know the injuries are catching up and they're plaguing this team. However, this is a $1 billion roster. This is a $1 billion squad. There is zero excuse. So the reason the Tottenham excuse doesn't apply here. This is a Manchester City. This is a Manchester City team that has gone out and bought everybody that they want. The depth is there. They run 22 deep. At some point, Pep, as great of a coach he is, he's got to turn this around. Like, at what point do we start to actually put some blame on the guy that we have done nothing but worship, rightfully so, for the past 4 years? I want Sean to chime in on that too. At some point, the injuries can't be the whole excuse. Everybody's got them. You want to talk about what my backline's been for the past 2 years?
Yeah. So I think this is honestly a scenario where we in previous years have commended Pep on getting the most out of players in positions they normally are and ideas of play that they don't normally do because of some weakness. He's able to hide weaknesses the best that we've ever seen. But now that is also very true. Kyle Walker is old and needs to be on the bench.
He got old in like 3 months.
He did. It was crazy. But I think this is also a point where we are not seeing that Pep adaptability that we've seen in previous seasons. You have a hole. It's right in your midfield with Rodri being hurt, and this is what you're saying. 9 of 22 hurt. I get it. You're having injury problems, but you also have the coach that is best equipped to handle something like that, and it's not the same as it is. And I get it's injuries, and I do believe they're losing because of injuries. But I think if you have a Pep of a couple years ago that is maybe more interested in playing in the Premier League
and doesn't have his foot already out the door to retirement,
he finds a way to make this work, and I don't think that it's happening right now.
I agree with that 100%. I also want to let's also give this some credence. They are in second place, 2 points off top. So
this is not an updated list.
Oh, I apologize. Go update the list for me. They are 5 points. They're in second place, 5 points off the top.
Don't look at the next games, by the way. I did not update those because we are on international break.
Okay, well, great. Neither of us updated games this week. But yours didn't matter.
I don't have games this week. All right?
I know, just yours didn't matter. But I will say this: like the reason we're putting this in panic mode. However, no one is running away with this title, and more realistically, what is happening is Manchester City finally look like the rest of us do.
Yeah.
And they finally have dealt with injury woes, which they haven't had to deal with in this 4-year run, and at this level. The run of this many games, it's taking its toll and it's taxing them. And unlike when it's a Barcelona team where they can play in La Liga where they can take weeks off, you cannot take weeks off in the Premier League because you lose to Brighton and you lose to Bournemouth. So panic is not necessarily needed to be hit. The panic button does not need. It's still in the desk. Okay.
But
however,
this is very true.
Well, hold on. However, we did ask where the panic button is. We now have we didn't know ever for the past 4 years where Manchester City's panic button was. We have now actually had to go in and go, hey, which drawer is it in? It's in this one. Okay. So it's not panic button yet. But for this team, after this 4 years and this standard, they start to drop to third to fourth. Oh my goodness, out of Champions League qualification, the panic button's coming out.
And then when they get hit with all those sanctions. But I think this is your key. Rodri did everything. He defended. He was a great facilitator. He was able to move the ball up. He shot decently well. Kovacic can progress the ball forward, and then every once in a while give you a good shot and maybe a good pass.
Yeah.
He's not on the level of a Ballon d'Or winning midfielder.
No, he's a former Chelsea player.
He is fantastic. You shut your mouth. He is a great player, but he is not on the level of Rodri. I think they're trying to, like I said, Pep is shoehorning a player in that in previous years, if he had moved him around, might have been better, but just isn't the same caliber or same type of player. And it's not like it's a Gabriel Jesus, playing as striker kind of moment where you're like, wait, what? Why is he? And then it works. It's I'm playing a guy who has to do 3 or 4 different roles when he just had to do one, and it's not working.
This is the one thing we can finally point out because it's come to truth. Now Pep is very great at tactics, and when you play his style, it's amazing.
Unless he plays in a final.
When you play his style.
Yes.
The thing that has always benefited Pep when he's been at Barcelona or Manchester City or Bayern Munich, he has had the checkbook to make sure he has all the players to play his style. Due to injuries, he no longer has all of the players to play his style. What can he do now? Can he adapt like we've been talking about? Now, the checkbook's going to open up in January, and they're going to spend $1 billion on everyone that they want and fill all the holes. It still won't be what it is. So we will see as we keep going. Now, it is international break. Gives my new coach a week or so, or I'm sorry, 2 weeks to get the plan in and get rolling. So I am excited for that. And then we will take care of some international stuff here in a second in a second. But before we do that, I get to have some fun while we talk about the MLS.
Yeah, I do. I will not have some fun. Anyways,
Let's fill out. Yeah, let's fill out that bracket. You see the results. Unfortunately, Charlotte out on penalties. Unfortunately, LAFC does make it through.
good for ratings.
Also, unfortunately, New York City FC defeat
That should be flipped.
that should be flipped. Defeats FC Cincinnati in penalties to eliminate you. Thoughts?
I kind of saw this coming. If I'm being honest, back half of the year, if not this round, then the next round. Back half of this year, our attacking play was absolutely atrocious. We had guys up there just kind of running around for 60 minutes, hoping Acosta would either drive in and score or give them a layup to put it in. Even then, they sometimes didn't finish. We missed Brandon Vatquez this season so badly.
Oh my goodness!
And it shows here.
I think he misses you too.
Yeah, he does because he's not playing well for Monterrey. Not really playing well. I think he came in the 90th minute last game where he's not getting much minutes. But this is definitely a team that is going to need a reboot. You have a great defense. It was a little injured at the end of the year. Miazga couldn't play, and neither could Hagelin. So you're missing it there. But that really wasn't your issue. Your issue is you have no offense right now. And by the tone of Lucho Acosta's tone, he may not be back either. And so you are going to need a lot of replenishing if you were going to do anything next season. So it hurts. It was expected, but I will enjoy the playoffs regardless.
I understand, and we're gonna get to that last result here in a second, so I can laugh more, or actually really laugh. I was you brought it up. I was really surprised by Acosta's comments. My thing being, where's he gonna go? No offense, you're not going to Europe, and if you are, you're playing somewhere nobody wants to play. Maybe
third division of Argentina, where he's from.
Right. Maybe you can go there. Maybe you can go somewhere in Mexico. But no offense, unless
maybe
you're
it's a retirement.
Or if you're swapping for somewhere in the MLS, I would stay at Cincinnati. Bobby, I need you to do me a favor, and I do need you to specify which LA team you're talking about before I give you dat for that. And in our final result, the best one of them all, Atlanta United FC 3, Inter Miami 2. Messi is out. I love it. It was hilarious to watch. They absolutely abused former United States men's national team keeper Brad Guzan.
Did you see the video?
Yes, I've seen the video. I watched it live when they shoved him into the net.
And he couldn't get out.
And they were pointing over him. I wanted him to punch Luis Suarez and Jordi Alba in the face. But instead, he did it on the field. He knocks out Messi. Ha. Bums. I love it.
Also, yes, I feel like the playoffs should be smaller, but not because of the upsets. Who cares if your team goes out? Maybe get rid of the wild card spot so it's just 8 per seed. But
I would actually like to see it become 4.
I think what Sean's trying to say though is that you are not going to get a massive guy out of the East, and it's going to be basically to the whim of the West. Who's gonna? And so I get what he's getting at there. But listen, it's the same way as the playoffs in the NBA basketball. If you got a weak conference, You're not gonna just get rid of that. Sometimes those years happen. It's not cause for change, massive overhaul.
Well, here's the problem, and this is why. And first of all, Bobby, I'm gonna get to this Columbus point here in a second when we bring up the graphic, because I'm gonna have some fun with these with my brother and you and Sean now. Here's the problem, and this is why it was tough for me to get invested and get involved in this MLS thing to begin with. I did it for you. I did it for the show. I'm fully invested.
For the fans.
I mean, and I've always liked it and I've always watched it, but I've had major critiques, and one of it has been the playoffs because, and I'm going to get on my high horse here for a second, if you're a proper football fan and you watch proper leagues, this whole playoff format is something, number one, it's a joke for your first league, for your top division, and it is something that is used in lower divisions to decide who gets to get promoted to a league. Okay, it doesn't decide who is your champion. Okay, these are cups that are played. The MLS has a cup too that, no offense, nobody cares about because they do this. So when you tell me that your champion is decided by playoffs, no, I agree with Sean. If we're going to do this by true soccer, the way it has always been done and should be done, in my opinion, no, this playoffs format is a joke. It's way too wide open, and it makes your regular season irrelevant when a team knows all I got to do is make the playoffs. It doesn't matter. I can rest guys. I don't need to worry about results throughout the year. When you do, and there's a reason that teams like Miami, LA, both LA teams that have players that have played overseas, there's a reason those teams do better throughout the year, because those players are like, no, we're not going into Kansas City and playing like shit today because we don't care about this game because we're the 5 seed. So if you want to make this a true proper soccer league, shorten up these playoffs, go to 4 teams in each conference, make the regular season mean even more. Jordi Alba, who just lost in the first round, said it should just be the top teams from each conference. If you really, really want to do it by the way it should be done, and you still want to Americanize it, he's actually correct. You take if you still want to have 2 conferences, you take the top team from each conference, they play, that's your champion.
One, I'm not listening to a sore loser complain that he didn't get an easy ride to the finals. I will never. It would be the same if you had lost and Ricky Pooch was like, there should be just no. I'm not listening to you. But 2, I get that, and I completely understand a system. I have slowly but surely kind of come around to the fact of having the playoffs, a playoff system, be the American difference. Now, I know we want to copy a lot of what European teams do because it's the beautiful game. It's the way it's done. I get it. However, the idea of the playoffs in any other sport is the best time. We don't complain about the baseball regular season just because it's 162 games and it doesn't matter until we get to the playoffs, because teams could lose 80 games and still make the playoffs, because we enjoy watching the games regardless, even if guys sit, and then we enjoy the playoffs more. I think that's how I feel about MLS soccer. I enjoy watching Cincinnati play during the regular season, whether Acosta plays or not, or top players play or not, but it's more enjoyable when they get to the playoffs. And I think that obviously you want to kind of shorten it a little bit. I think there is still obviously too many teams. We're having only 5 teams from each side miss. I completely agree. I think 8 is a perfect one, or 6 with a bye on for one side is great. But I do believe that playoffs as an American and having it kind of distinct is enjoyable for me.
Here's my counter to you, and you're not wrong. First of all, you are not wrong. Here is where purists like me and an older generation has an issue with this. So you grew up in an America that embraced soccer, had it all over the television. You have never grown up not being able to watch it with me. Yep. You have access to the world's game, so you can separate our game. I grew up with the disrespect of our game, it not being anywhere to find, our own domestic league not even being in existence for most of my life. Then when it did get brought in, it was awful, and they had shootouts and
from the halfway line,
just awful, just horrific soccer, just awful. I won't even call it football. So when I see this Americanized league, I got a problem, because you're not, in my mind, you're not respecting what is there. You're going, no, we're still better at this. And spoiler alert, you're not, and you won't ever be. So that is my problem. Like, if you're going to do this, I think do it right. But it's also hard for me to get over that pure way that it's been done, because it was so hard for me to have access to that and find it and get respect for it.
Yeah.
I'm coming along. But as we put the playoff bracket up, I got a question. Because, your rivalry with Columbus is called Hell is Real. But I think the saying that the kids use now is that Ohio isn't real, because on this bracket, they ain't nowhere to be found in the next round. Ohio ain't real. But let's start on our Eastern Conference side. These matchups won't be played for like 6 weeks, so you don't have anything to worry about.
Dude, I don't get it, but
another thing we need to talk about with this league, but that's another conversation for another day. They're in the middle of their playoffs and they're taking 2-week breaks when you play outside in cold weather. But okay, you've got Atlanta and Orlando on the Eastern Conference side, and then you have the New York Derby, whatever, the East River Derby,
Hudson River Derby,
whatever. New York City FC versus Red Bull, New York Red Bulls. Probably two of the most hated conglomerates that could own a football team, in the New York City FC being owned by the Manchester United conglomerate, or Manchester City conglomerate, and then obviously the New York Red Bulls being owned by the Red Bull conglomerate. Am I wrong?
Shocker, they're in New York. Hated teams. Crazy how that works.
Right. And then over on the Western Conference side, I'm going to take some flack here too. I don't know what I'm looking for there, but we've got LAFC versus Seattle.
It's going to be a great series.
Yes, and then we have got Minnesota versus LA Galaxy. My LA Galaxy.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
You beat LA or Seattle, you got this. No one scares me in the East. Minnesota does not scare me. You got a path. You just got to follow it.
If you are Seattle, unless you're Atlanta, I mean, but all they have is Miami. But I agree with you. If you're Seattle or Minnesota and you make it to the final, which means you have taken out either one, you've had to have at least taken out one of the LA teams, but possibly both. That, you're looking over at the Eastern Conference side going, I could care less. Whoever.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, but like I said, they play these games, and I couldn't even tell you when. We will recap them and kind of bring you up as they get closer. Now, I'm not going to hit the music for you first, because we're going to have a bit of a discussion, right? Are you telling me to hold on?
No music today. We have a list, but I added something, and we have something to talk about.
Absolutely. So the United States men's national team have a game when? Tonight. So the roster was dropped for this November, these November games. I was about to call them friendlies. But we have some injuries, and I want to talk about the injuries first because our coach Mauricio Pochettino, did and said something that I absolutely loved, and that is with that top name on the injury list, Tyler Adams. He is not hurt. He is not injured. He is training with his team, correct?
Yes.
However,
he played multiple games.
Yes. However, Poch kept him off of the roster and basically said the reason I'm doing this is because I want to manage their minutes. I want guys to be healthy, and when they are fully healthy and have played, we will bring them in.
So this is twofold good for me. One, you are taking care of your players. You are not running them into the ground during, as soon as they get back, just so they can come back to the clubs and get hurt again. So that helps the players, but it also helps the clubs. And this is what I mean by that. So obviously for big tournaments, you are going to get your players. That's no doubt. But you get to the lower tournaments or even the youth tournaments where sometimes you can't get guys because, clubs want to keep them or something like that. Clubs see stuff like this and are more willing to give up these kind of guys. And it makes it so much better to have these guys in crucial times when they know that in inconsequential games, they don't need to be called up. And this is why I am loving the start of this. I know the result didn't go our way before, and I am going to judge this game a little more harshly than I did the last series.
Of course.
But I am liking this mentality so far.
What it's like to have a proper football coach who's coached in the big leagues. How about that? See how things change and go back to the way they should be?
Yes.
Number one. Number two, it also helps that we have a manager who is going to test the depths of this American pool of players which allows him to make decisions like this, because one of the issues in the past is American coaches. Now, it also helps when you don't have to qualify for anything, but American coaches have been under pressure and have always taken as many of the top players as they could the minute they were healthy. And we are not doing that anymore. And that is going to help not just the first name on that list, Tyler Adams, but especially the second, Serginho Dest, the third, Gio Reyna, the fourth, Haji Wright, and my guy who got hurt once again, Josh Sargent, with a bad groin injury, will be out till mid-January. But this is also going to help those guys realize I don't need to rush back to have a spot with the national team. I'm good.
And what also I really like about this is obviously you see the injuries are piling up a little bit, but we get into December. Tyler Adams will be playing. Gio Reyna, his injury is kind of weird. They're keeping it really under wraps, which I feel like is worse than normal. But like I said, I don't know. It's still expected late November. Haji Wright is going to be back. He's just taking a break with a knock. Josh Sargent is going to be out a little bit, but Luca De La Torre will be back. Daryl DK will be back from an Achilles finally. Will be back. Kevin Perez with an early season ankle injury will be back. Flo will be back from that shoulder injury last friendlies, and Leonard Maloney will be back right after the break. So we are getting a lot of players back, and we don't have an official. This is our last official international break until March. So none of those players are going to be out until March. So as long as everyone can kind of keep going and keep pushing, we're going to have a very limited list of injuries next international break.
All of these guys will have weeks and weeks and weeks to get themselves back into fitness, back into game time, and absolutely. Now, let's get to the top part, because I got to do it. Obviously, these are the guys that have been called up. I want to have a goalkeeper conversation in a second, but I have to give some love to, first of all, my guy, Gianluca Busio, for getting a call up. And I want to shout out because we've got both him and his teammate Tanner Tessman in there. I love to see that.
Former teammate.
Former
Playing
teammate.
minutes at Lyon, by the way.
Yeah, Tanner Tessman. Jonas Musa, who played well. Aiden Morris, going to get some love there.
Playing real well.
Yes. Excuse me. On the striker side, due to some of those injuries, it is a little thin. Ricardo Pepi and Brandon Vasquez as your only real true natural strikers in that position. Pulisic is not going to play there. Cade Cowell, maybe. Timmy Weah healthy. I'm glad to see that. And I got to get some love. Alex and Dejas getting a call up.
Yes. And I will say deserved. And so is there anything to talk about on the rest of this graphic here?
I mean, do you want to talk about how bad our goalies suck, or you want to move on?
We've beat that to a dead horse, if I'm being honest. I like the added of Diego Koken. He's not going to play, but it's good to get him in the camp.
That's fine.
But so we talk about Zendejas, we talk about Kate Cowell. I have added something. So after each international break, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put up a American Abroad Leaders graphic. They're going to be your goals, assists, minutes played, and percentage of minutes played, because we talked about earlier in the week, we talked about my spreadsheet. This comes from my spreadsheet. Haji Wright is leading with 7 goals. And listen, at 5th, Cade Cowell with 5 goals down in Mexico. And he is 4th with 2 assists. So earned himself a call-up, I believe. So those are really good. Obviously, Josh Sargent, Haji Wright, your top goals and assist leaders are out, which sucks. But if you go to minutes played, and they're going to be a lot dependent, because the English Championship has more games played. So obviously you have your Aiden and Brendan and stuff like that are in there. But if you have percentage of minutes played, Anthony Robinson has played every single minute for Fulham. Joe Scally has played 98% of minutes for your 2 starting fullbacks there. George Bell didn't get a call up, but I wanted to mention him on there. Brian Reynolds and Marlon Fossey as well. All of your defenders playing really, really good. These are also players who have just been called up post World Cup. So that is a shout out to all of these guys. I'm not getting too deep into the woods, but shout out to these guys for playing a lot of minutes, like we talked about, like you talk about a lot, and being very efficient in their minutes.
I love you. This is amazing. We're so far in the woods, we have no signal. So there is no not going into the woods. We are in the woods. So you haven't been looking up. You've
Goals
been
and
looking
assists.
up.
People understand goals and assists in minutes played.
But you're still in the woods. It's okay. It's good woods. It's good woods, but you're in the woods. All right. You keep this is yours. Keep it going. Keep it scrolling.
And finally, to end this like normal, we have our Americans abroad.
Hold on.
As we talk, if you want to put up, I'm gonna have to draw this out if we're gonna play the whole national anthem.
A brief.
Tim Weah, coming back from injury for Juventus, scored his 4th goal in a 2-0 win, coming in hot. Paxton Aarons, Utrecht, didn't get a call up, but I feel like we'll soon. He's banging on the door. Goal, his 4th goal and a man of the match in a 1-0 win. Haji Wright, right before his injury, scored a goal in a 2-2 draw. Hopefully he'll be back. He'll be back right after injury. No worry there. Johnny Cardoso, an assist and a man of the match in a 6-0 win for Real Betis. He's also coming in hot. And to final it off, Ricardo Pepi, a goal and an assist in a 3-0 win. Really, like he did in the previous season, really making the most of his opportunities. And like I said to you, getting a lot of intrigue from teams in the January market. So we will see if he goes anywhere.
Go, Pepi. Go get minutes. A big night for Pepi.
Absolutely. Oh, hold on. It is 7:17, which means I can finish this with our lineup. Oh, you ended it. I was gonna finish with the lineup.
My bad.
It's all right.
I'm having all kinds of technical difficulties over here.
No worries. So to start, Turner in goal, Anthony Robinson and Joe Scally are your left and right backs. Tim Ream and Mark McKenzie are your center backs. Tanner Tessman and Johnny Cardoso are your 2 defensive mids. Pulisic and Musa are your left and right attacking mids, with McKennie being central, and Pepi gets the start. It is a very interesting lineup, especially with Musa kind of taking that right attacking mid position. But I do enjoy the combination of Tessman and Cardoso. I think they're going to give a lot of push up into those attacking roles.
Didn't know the lineup, but still told you a big night for Ricardo Pepi. There you go. That is why I know what I'm talking about. Way to finish it out there, and that will, as you know, as Americans Abroad always does, do it for us here on the Straub Sports Show. I want to thank you for joining us. If you've been here on Facebook on the 216 Sports Network, whether you follow and like us there, or if you have been on the YouTube page where you can become one of our 5.2 thousand subscribers. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. Number one, I will answer this. Yes, I'm gonna spoil that, Bobby. You will see the Straub Sports Show at Rapids tryouts this weekend. We are going to go live from the Rapids Facebook page. We're gonna be doing some interviews. We're gonna have it's gonna be banging. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be beautiful. But yeah, you're definitely gonna see me and Straub there. You're gonna get a little taste of the Straub Sports Show experience at Rapids tryouts. But if you are joining us here, which you are on the 216 Sports Network, what do you get? As I click all the way back, you get a little bit of everything. You get 4 to 15 with Mel and Smooth. You get the Jay Rich Show, the Rulers Minute with Rico McGee, and Outside Interference, and of course, the Straub Sports Show. Where can you find us? Everywhere. On X at Straub Sports, TikTok at the SBSS, Instagram at Straub Sports Show, blowing up with all of our Rapids interviews. Make sure you go and check all of those out, and my interview with Josh Cribbs. And on Spotify, Straub Sports Show, completely updated up till last week. Obviously, I can't update this week until we're done with this week, but we are up to date there. Also, always a big shout out to our friends of the show, my guy Austin at Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Make sure you follow them on Instagram for all the latest winter apparel at Create Your Own Wave 2021. There's a little bit of glimpse of it. If you want to get some, cyowapparel.myshopify.com. Spoiler alert, because we already talked about it. Boom. Straub Sports Show, official broadcast team of the Falls Rapids. As you see, there is a taste of what you would find on Instagram. Those are my player and coaches interviews, all up to date, except for 2 at the very bottom there that have not debuted yet. No, you don't get them yet. A couple at a time. Shout out to my vets. Who I was able to talk to, or I talked to and was able to post this week for Veterans Day. Morgan and Trey, we appreciate your service. Also, Rapids doing big things. Christmas toy drive. Make sure you check that out if you can, or I shouldn't say check that out. Please give if you can. They partnered with Keys to Serenity. Christmas toy drive. New and unwrapped toys can be donated at 2 locations. MK Hair, 2695 North Haven Boulevard, Suite 10 in Cuyahoga Falls, and Moose Lodge, number 18, 4444 State Road, Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. If you can help us give back, visit keystoserenity.org or info@keystoserenity.org for questions. And never a certain thing is called just last, but they are technically last. Oh, first of all, not yet. Rapid schedule, up and updated, preseason and in-game schedule. If you are not following the Rapids, what are you doing? Hashtag spread the wave. Facebook, the Cuyahoga Falls Rapids. Instagram, official Rapids. TikTok at cuyahoga.falls.ra. Now, what I was meaning to talk about. Sorry, it's food involved. I'm getting excited. Schmoopy Sweets and Treats. Updated bakery menu there. Remember, that bakery menu is only available through DM on the Facebook page, so get that good stuff. But there's all kinds of cookies available. www.schmoopystreats.com. All orders over $20 get a 10% discount with the code COOKIES10. There are 2 new flavors of cookies on the website, banana pudding and Snickers. And just like I did in the opening, I'm bringing it back. Got my stuff.
Pulled away for a third time?
I am. Here's the brownie. Amazing. I cannot wait to get into that. Here is the holiday cookie. That is just beautiful. And yes, I'm absolutely going to do it. Look at this s'mores cookie. Here it is. Beautiful, but watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Yes. Yes. Look at that. Amazing. Amazing. When I tell you I cannot wait to rip into this, I cannot wait. Oh, and when I'm done, I'll be warming up a piece of pumpkin bread, because that's what we do here on the Straub Bro Sports Show. We do not just talk about it. We order and we support our people. Paula, thank you for rocking with us. I really appreciate it. You're an amazing baker. That is Paula's Bakery. I cannot wait to eat this stuff. But thank you for rocking with us. Thank you for being part of the show. Bro, final shout outs.
Yeah, listen, thank you for watching, listening, however you digest this podcast. Listen, it's getting dark out very early. It sucks because I'm driving home and it's 5 o'clock and I'm like, why is the sun already down? But hey, if you need something to cheer up your day about 5:15, always tune in. Always watch our old videos. We got it on the Spotify. And have a great weekend, everybody.
I'm going to turn the show for a second. I'm going to bring it to a screeching halt. We know how I end the show every week, but it's very personal today. Had a very scary situation today. I didn't even actually get to tell my brother about it. There was nothing to do with my son, medical emergency at my son's school, but the message that us parents got was the word lockdown. So unfortunately, for about 20 minutes today, all I knew was that my son's school was in lockdown and I didn't know what was going on. I could never imagine what it's like to have this conversation without being able to turn this camera off in 5 seconds and go hug my son. So hug your kids, give them the biggest hug ever. Tell your family you love them. Tell your brother you love them. I love you. Yeah, make sure today more than ever that you do what we talk about all the time here on the Straub Bro Sports Show, and that is to love yours. Thank you for rocking with us today. We'll be back next week.